Yeah, I mean, certainly a tough start having that happen and missing a lot of time. I I think he's like you said, you use that motion with your hand. I think it's gotten better and better his game throughout the entire year, and right now seems to be playing, you know, like we expect from him. When uh, great defense, good puck moving, a great pair with Adam, and I think together they've been really good. But I definitely think that he's found his stride after coming back from that injury.
I wanted to ask you about Mika as well. Similar, I was just talking to him. He said he thinks he's found more energy in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe. What have you seen that energy do for him?
I think all kind of goes together. You know, the winning, the energy, the confidence, all of that goes together. The enjoying coming to the rink and getting the results that you want, whether it's personal or from a team standpoint. We need guys to play great. We need them to feel confident about their game, attacking the game, and when collectively you do that, you can start winning hockey games. And um, one feeds the other. I think the games of the individuals feed the team, and so there's no question that he appears to be confident. He is playing with speed. He's drawing tough assignments still, and yet still doing a really good job with that. But they're able to contribute from an offensive standpoint as well.
Do you think that the assignments, the role that he's in, is helping with that energy too? Like it pushes you guys? Pushes
He's always been a guy for me that I've counted on inside of that role, and I think he's probably been counted on that way in his whole career. As a real smart two-way centerman. Certainly last year, that's how he was ruled. And it's not every shift, and it's not all the time. But if you draw 60% against the top line, and somebody else draws 40%. That 60% is tougher sometimes because you're playing against, like last night, a guy like McKinnon, and Neckish is out there, and there's some chemistry starting to collect with those two, and it makes it just a little bit more challenging to get your game going as well. But I think he's doing a good job.
How do you think Will is adapting to a role where he's now up against the top line instead of making the third?
Yeah, I think that I said this, I think a little bit ago. I think that there's a learning curve there for young players to go into that role. Last year you often heard me say we don't talk about him much from a defensive standpoint because he does a pretty good job. I think that becomes more challenging as you play against the top lines and the top players. And I think he's handling it well. I mean, he started to kill penalties for us. He started to take on that responsibility right now with Mika and Smitty inside of that top role. And from a matchup standpoint anyway, they're getting the majority of the starts against them. I think he's done a good job. I think that there's definitely learning which takes place behind the scenes or on the bench or between periods, but I think for the most part he's done a good job.
They had a really good day yesterday for the most part, right, that line.
Yeah.
Do you think that he has sacrificed some of his offensive game in this role, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. I think sometimes it's harder to get the puck and do what you want when you're playing against guys that have the puck and they're trying to do what they want. So it's just a little bit of a trade-off there. But I don't think that it's. I think his line is still generating chances and still looking to produce. And that's part of it too. He's got to grow into that role. I mean, you're talking about top line minutes, and that's a good step and a good challenge for him inside of his second year pro in the NHL. Has been this, kind of what you're saying about Ryan. It's been the same with Will from the first year to where he is now to being on the penalty kill, and he might be finding time at the end of the game when the game's on the line from a defensive standpoint. But it's not. We don't sit there and tell that line and say, listen, just play defense. Don't worry about offense. It's still attack and do what you can. It may just be. It may find another gear of being challenging when you're doing it against top players.
With Sam Carrick scored a bunch of goals this month, I guess the biggest game against New Jersey. What do you know? Is his game different? Has it changed? Has it gotten better? Or has he been the same guy the whole season long and then they're just going in now?
I think they're generating a little bit more. You're talking about, again, somebody who's come into the organization and trying to find his way. You're talking about Adam Edstrom in his first year as a pro, and he's certainly playing well. Remps has had a year that's taken him in different places for different reasons, but he's here now and he's contributing. I mean, the play that he made coming around the net last night, we talked about, changing sides in the offensive zone and then coming out and seeing what might be available. If you can catch a team looking one way, something might be open on the backside. So it was a really good play by him. Sam there to bury it, but that line has generated chances. I think they've done a good job.
Have the back nine minutes been better than you expected when you got in that trade?
I think that he's done a really good job of playing a game that we needed at the time. Just coming in and being able to skate, close. Like I said, I do think he thinks the game defensively first. I think he skates well. He makes a good first pass. He can work to add to our offensive scheme, but in his mind, I think he manages his game from a defensive standpoint, and I think he does a really good job. I don't. Sometimes you don't know what to expect when you get a player, especially somebody in the Western Conference when you're playing mostly in the East and you don't see players that much. But I think he's done an excellent job since being here. Him and Schneids have been a good pair. They've been really reliable. They can take on top minutes if they have to, or top lines if they have to, because they're both big and strong, close, quick, pretty good defensive. So we've been really happy with them. I don't know if it surprised me, but we've been really happy with it.
The reason I ask is because in this third team, but Boston, Anaheim, sparingly for those teams never really got a run. Maybe a little bit. But,
Yeah.
And that's why,
Still a young player though, too, right? Still a young player, and so I think defense is one of the hardest positions, obviously goaltending, right? But from a defenseman standpoint, trying to find those reads and those coverages off the rush and end zone, it can be challenging, I think, for a young player. There's a lot to learn and constantly learning, and so maybe just the experience that he did have leading up to this maybe has set the way for him to be able to do what he's done for us. But just, again, I don't know about surprise, but we've been really happy with what he's done.
Over the past 3 games, Rempe's played over 8 minutes. Have you built more confidence in Rempe, and do you feel he's become just a smarter player in terms of not trying to take the hits and those dirty penalties or what?
Well, I don't think he's looking for dirty penalties. I do think he's looking for hits. And I don't think that that's necessarily left his radar. I don't think he goes out here saying, I'm not going to touch anybody. I think he's looking to hit somebody. But I do think that he, kind of like I was saying earlier, the more you play, the more experience you get, the more you learn, the better knowledge, the more equipped you are to handle the games, to handle what happens throughout the course of a game. And he's learning even about the hits and what he can and can't do out there. But I do think his game has been good. We've been in a lot of situations this month, which has allowed me just to kind of roll the bench and push the bench, and that's been good for our guys, especially with the schedule. It's backed off here a little bit with some days off here, and then the breaks coming. But I think, I mean, Edstrom, same thing. Sam Carrick, new player, and Rempe full time, and so they're in there. Yeah, I think that when they go out and they do the job, you do gain confidence. I think the teammates gain confidence. They gain confidence. Their teammates gain confidence. I gain confidence from that. So, yeah.
Your general thoughts on this Carolina coming up against this tight game?
Coming off what?
Coming up against this tight game now with Carolina coming in.
Yeah, I mean, they're big games. I mean, it's 2 points. Like I said, it's still disappointing to think about last night. It's, we're in a position where we fought the whole night for those points and got to a position to win the game, and we walk away with nothing. So that's tough. But we got to turn the page and move on, and that's where we're at today. We got to continue to play a game that's going to give us a chance to be successful and collect points. And I think our guys have done that. We need to get right back to doing that. They're a good hockey team. They've had another strong start to their year, and it should be a good one. But we got to be ready to play. Get back on it.
Preparing for the Hurricanes, knowing Rod change. Now that they have ranked.
Yeah, it was the same as last night. Like, you know, watching Neckish fit into there, and even Drury. Like, they're good. They're all good players, and so I don't know exactly how they fit in or what the, you know. For me, like I said it. I wasn't being sarcastic. Really good players change jerseys, and we had them back to back. You know, just the way the schedule worked, and we still had to face Neckish and Drury. Now we got to face Ranton, and so we had to face them anyway inside of these two games. I don't know what the dynamic does inside of their team and how that changes things, but we just got to go back to preparing for our game and the way we play against them. And you know, they're all good players, and so they changed lines and they changed colors, and but they're still there in the last night and tomorrow. And so we're going to focus on our game and try and do the best that we can just to play our game and get the 2 points.